I need to get me a camera like you all have.
And I didn't introduce myself. I'm sorry. I came up here talking your ears off. I'm Denisha. This is Rebecca. So we're with the Kansas Capitol Bureau. So we cover stations across Kansas. So that includes Kansas City, Wichita, Topeka. So you will be everywhere.
Mic up. Check.
I gotta wear a mic?
Yes.
Boy, this is getting really fancy.
Yeah. I told you.
Put it in your pocket. Stick it up your shirt.
Jesse, they're gonna make you famous, brother. One way or another.
I'm just gonna put this behind.
I like how it looks like a regular microphone, just really small.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? Like,
Yeah. All right, so I'll just pull this down. Okay, and you can come over to me. I'm just gonna set you up. Make sure you're all set up right.
check, mic, check. Is that what you do in showbiz?
Yes, we do mic checks. So I'm gonna have you do one in just 1 second for me. So
Okay.
whenever you're ready, you can come stand in front of me, okay? I'm just gonna have you scoot over to your right. Perfect. All right, I'm gonna make this a little bit taller.
Make sure you get my good side.
Okay, what's your good side? I know.
He's behind him.
Oh goodness. Okay. Okay, so Rebecca's gonna get this gentleman over here, Kansas. Yeah, because a part of my angle was people coming out from out of state. So I was actually hoping I could find people from out of state.
Ohio and Oklahoma already left.
Which sucks because that would have been really for her.
Because our rally was over at 1.
Right.
You just happened to catch us packing up.
Yeah,
So
okay.
So could you start by stating your name and title for me?
my name is Eddie Ehart. I'm the state dean of the People's Kansas baseball.
We may need to wait until they're done. Is that okay?
Why are you guys out?
Don't change your mind on me now. Okay.
We're just trying to get the word out, trying to get you to vote. We are we are bipartisan. We want everybody to get out. We don't care who you vote for. Our request today is for you to ask questions and do your own research for the people you want to vote for to make sure they're the right person for the office you're voting
Was this a vote yes rally, Joe, or was it just bipartisan? Who's trying to go?
for. We do support values and vote. That is a big part of our movement here. If you understand, we have a Kansas Constitution that's written similar to the federal Constitution. That's what every state is a state of the union because every state made their own constitution. Our state legislature, state Supreme Court made a ruling in 2019 that said abortion is legal in Kansas. That's still not a law.
You can move unless you want
We
this
need
shown
this
on your
amendment
so then we'll wait
to
for
our
a minute.
Constitution.
Yeah, I just kind of grab
to make
everything.
Okay.
law so we keep abortion rights. So that's why I support values.
So why do you think you should vote yes?
From what I just stated.
Oh, okay.
You vote yes if you're pro-choice or pro-life, because we need to make the ruling from the state court into law, so we can keep abortion in Kansas.
Okay. I guess from some groups that I've spoken with, passing this amendment would allow Kansas legislators to pass new regulations on abortion in the state. So is that what you're saying, or?
I have not read up on that. I do know the legislature will be in control of this.
Yeah.
But that takes it out of the court and actually makes it a law. Without legislature, it's actually not a legal law in Kansas. We've already actually lost 2 abortion laws in Kansas because they've been sued and went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court overruled our state court. So we're losing abortion laws in Kansas. That's why we need this amendment to our state constitution to keep our abortion rights. And I understand that they might dial back some, like late term, and dissect abortions. but that's only for people who come from out of state. Any doctor and mom can decide whether they need an abortion or not. Even if it's late term, if it's due to medical reasons, that's still in the law. If you go to valuethemboth.com, you can read it all. It's spelled out very clearly. We need to keep this, we need to have this constitutional amendment voted yes on to keep our rights to an abortion.
Okay. Some of the, I guess, other people supporting the Value Them Both Amendment, what they've said is that it puts the right back in voters' hands. Would you agree with that? Could you elaborate?
Yes. Our legislation cannot pass anything without the citizens of Kansas' approval. It boils down to it. If we don't like what they're trying to pass, we call their offices. We ring them up. We let them know our voices and opinion before they make a decision. We sure do. I call this building about 17 times a day to make sure they hear my voice.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No? Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you very kindly. Oh, hey. Yeah, I do have one more thing.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
In the People's Movement Kansas, we're also trying to raise awareness to end the mandates, state and federal level. There's a bill in the House called HJ Res 46. It's being held in committee by Pelosi. She will not allow it to go to the floor for a vote. So Paul Gosser out of Arizona started discharge petition number 12 to get that out of said committee to Pelosi's desk and make her put it up for a vote to end all mandates. We're tired of wearing masks and
He
we're
doesn't
tired
know
of
yet.
getting
We didn't know yet.
vaccines, mandatory
We're waiting.
vaccines.
I mean, I'll
A
question.
lot of people are still losing their job
We're waiting to ask
because they
him
refuse
questions.
to get the vaccine.
We're going to get him right after this. Thank you so much. Okay.
I talk loud because I'm used to talking on the CB. Make sure I get out 10 miles.
All right, your turn.
I don't know where to put my camera at.
Put it beside hers.
You can't share my spotlight. I'm just kidding.
There you
Just
go.
kidding. All right, come on up.
Does it look good? The picture look good? Like, am I in it?
Get you both.
Perfect.
You
Yeah.
just want to make sure. I'm going to balance on something white really quickly. And you'll have to excuse me. I'm still kind of new with the camera, so.
Me too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's been some of the more unfavorable mainstream media that's what drew me into streaming. Not necessarily you all, but it's the bigger ones that's got me into streaming because, you know, sometimes they just show one side or they don't really show all the facts. And so that's kind of what's drawn me into streaming. But definitely out of my comfort zone, doing it all.
Gotcha. Okay, just 1 second. All right, so I'm just, if you don't mind, I'm just gonna come back near you and I'm gonna
Yeah.
fix this. Trying not to have the blackboard show
Right.
as much as possible. Okay, perfect. So you'll look my direction, okay? And first I'll have you start by saying and spelling out your first and last name. Go ahead.
My name is Jesse, Jesse. I run a YouTube channel. It's J_N. Just letter J_N. If people ever want to find me.
Perfect. Okay, so let's talk about your participation here today. There's apparently going to be hundreds of people around 3 o'clock to protest or rally for the vote no side for the constitutional amendment, Value Them Both, on August 2nd. But you're from out of state. Tell me why you came down to Kansas.
I travel as much as I can and to help in freedom protest. Not necessarily the abortion or, you know, different political figures. It's more just on the broad scale, in the Emergency Powers Act, that's a big controversial thing that's going on right now. And there's other things that come with that, abortion, of course, those are issues that's at hand right now. And so I wanted to come out here and show support from Missouri, to let them know that, we're supporting Kansas. We're all people wanting our freedoms back, and, wanting to reinstate the Constitution, and, we want to get back to living happily again.
So granted, you said that you're not necessarily traveling to talk about abortion rights. What do you think? Do you have any thoughts about the constitutional amendment that will be voted on here in Kansas? Have you done any research on that?
A little bit, yes. I believe there does need to be checks and balances in the abortion stuff. Some of the stuff like they passed in California, I don't remember what the exact number is, but up to like 24 months of age as a legal abortion, absolutely ridiculous. So that means a two-year-old child, they can consider that an abortion legally. And absolutely ridiculous. I believe that there's some circumstances where an abortion could be okay, medical reasons, rape, stuff like that. I agree that it's within reason. And that's a lot of that goes into women's rights, and I support all women's rights as much as I can. But there becomes a time when you draw a line in the sand that if she's been carrying that child for almost to birth, the time that 11 months or 12 months, if she's been carrying that child for that long, she's past her decision to make that. Now that's a living, human being. If there's a heartbeat, that's a living human, in my eyes. And I think there needs to be some stuff kind of addressed towards that. I think that there becomes a point in time where, there needs to be a line, whether it's okay or not okay. We need to define what that line is, for sure.
So what about Kansans who see you here today who are a Kansan and they know that you're from Missouri? What would you say to them if they may say something to you like, what are you doing here? This is our business. Stay out of our state. What would you say to that?
It's all states, whether, each state is setting up their own thing for abortion right now. And so you have to travel to these other states and let your voice be heard there also. Because, or else, if they have something radical here that's, voted in for abortion, then the people from Missouri are going to come over here. The people from other states are going to come here.
And two more questions for you. What about for women? You are also male, and this is a topic that surrounds women, of course. It does affect males as well, but of course this is the women who will be having these abortions. What would you say to the women who think you have no right to say anything because you are a man?
I agree with that 100%. I don't have no place to say it because I am a man and I'm not the one carrying that child. I just feel that, there becomes a certain time when abortion should be pulled off the table. There's a certain time for that. In the beginning, if there's complications, there's issues, stuff like that, I understand, maybe an abortion could be okay then. When it comes down to, 8 months, 9 months, 10 months, up to 24 months that some of these states are trying to pass for an abortion, that's a little ridiculous. So that means that, you go to the playground, you see all these children playing all the time at playgrounds that are, 1 year old, 2 years old, stuff like that. So that would be, what's the difference in between abortion at 24 months of age and just pulling one of the kids off the playground and saying, we can't afford you anymore? And there's this strong line, I believe, there that needs to be defined, what's okay and what's not okay.
And my last question for you today, what does it mean for you to be able to stand here with Kansans who have a certain goal? You were here with the Vote Yes group. So what does it mean for you to stand here today in Kansas out of state?
It's important to me. all states need to rally together. You know, we need to come together as a nation to help fight some of these, you know, crazy issues that for some reason we are having now.
Is there anything you wanted to add on the record?
Ooh, that's a good question. Caught me off guard with that
That's
one.
okay. If you had anything else you wanted to say, you can say it right now. You have that opportunity.
I believe, you know, there's a freedom of choice. My body, my choice. You know, I've protested that. I have, you know, my body, my choice kind of stuff with certain medicine stuff. You know, I don't want to call it out because YouTube, there's a big disclaimer. You can't use anything that's, you know, could be medical information. So there's certain words you can't say. But you know, I believe that everybody has a choice. I do. But when it comes to abortion, yes, they have. I believe they do have a choice in the beginning. Once you develop to a heartbeat and stuff like that, you're kind of a little past that choice. You've accepted that choice, and then you've redrawn from that choice, essentially. So, you know, pick one choice and go with it, not, you know, if you know what I mean.
Okay. Anything else?
I think that's it.
All right. Thank you so much for doing this interview with me. You are all finished, and I'm going to go ahead and grab your mic from you. And you have safe travels back to Missouri.
Yep.
And again, thank you so much.
Yes. Hey, thank you all for coming out here and you know, for coverage for sure. What news station are you all again?
So we are for the Capitol Bureau. So that means you may see it on Fox 4. You may see it on KSNT, KSNW. Yeah, we're all over. So I'm not
Y'all
sure.
just send it to KY3
KY3.
in Missouri, Springfield, Missouri.
Oh, so since we're the Kansas Bureau, we may not be. I know for Fox 4, we're kind of on the cusp with Johnson County, so we can be shown there. But I'm not sure we'll be shown in any other Missouri besides Joplin.
Why do you think that is? Why is it that news gets limited to each state it's in? Why isn't it more of a national thing so that people all around the country can see what's going on in each individual state?
I'm not sure.
Well, I
think
guess
it's
they
just
have like their national, like each company has like its national news, right? But then we have local news outlets that cover just particular areas, and that could be broadcast across the state, like our broadcasts are.
Right.
It could be hyper local, where you're focusing on more local stories.
Right.
Coverage. But national news outlets are usually coordinating at the top with, you know, some of the most, I guess, provocative
And it was
stories
even better. I jumped
that
on
are
a
going
live
on
stream.
nationwide.
And I
Yeah,
seen
so
Super
we'll be
D
statewide,
rolling
but
through the
of course you won't see this nationally.
We're the only one that has statewide coverage.
Right.
Yeah.
With
So do you all cover other things besides just what happens at the Capitol, other things in the state of Kansas?
Yeah.
So did you all cover the thousands of cattle that dropped over dead?
Actually, yes, they were
Yeah,
covering
it was
that.
like barbecue in the car.
Yeah, but I don't think we did that at the Capitol Bureau, right? That was for news.
We're actually looking into that right now. So.
Because that's something I'd be really interested, you know, on learning some more stuff behind that, you know, which agencies done the autopsies, you know, stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, was it an independent veterinary that did the autopsies on those cattle, or was it a more federal-sided doctor or vet that did the autopsies?
It's something
Those are definitely valid questions for sure.
It's something we're looking into on our side. So if you do want to tune in, or if you happen to be on the Kansas side anytime soon, we may have something coming out then.
All right, I will be tuning in for that. Thank you.
Yeah, and you can always email us if you have like any concern. I know you're in Missouri.
Do you have a business card by chance?
I do not. I'm still new, so I don't have my business cards just yet. But you can find me on Denisha Richard TV on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you have any concerns, feel free to.
Stay right here in the shade, or you're gonna get punched?
We're gonna go around and about and get some folks.
Before you pick it up, here. I got something for you. I want to make sure everybody has one of those.
Yes, that is a pocket constitution there. Very, very good information in that.
Thank you guys so much for talking to us today. Yeah.
Yeah,
You guys
thanks for
have
coming
a great
out.
day and have a safe trip back to Missouri. Thank you.
Oh, it's live stream. We're live on YouTube.
Hell yeah. So I can go home and watch it when you show it off.
Yeah. Yep.
I'll make my wife say once or more. Watch, I'm on the news.
Yep. I always try to cover the news. You know, anytime I ever see anybody doing an interview or something like that.
Yeah, we're all
always,
out there.
Yeah.
Flags.
Always
Follow
get
the
a
flags.
good fact check. You know, not all news organizations are bad, but there are some that are.
Correct.
And so, you know, we have to cover everybody
Denise Richards?
equally.
Exactly. And see, and these nice ladies are here to cover something that we don't believe in.
Mm-hmm.
But they were nice and kind enough to get both sides of the story.
At least
It's
try.
the same
She said
story.
She wanted.
Right.
She didn't know that we were out here today, but she wanted both sides.
Exactly. And that's very kind. It's like,
Well,
you know,
but
as a true reporter,
was our
you want both
rally
sides of
really
the story.
I know we all.
We weren't
believe
really
in
a
the
specific.
vote yes.
Ours wasn't really a specific vote yes
Cheap ass
rally, was it?
Huh?
Was it a very specific vote yes rally, or was this kind of?
So
More
I
of
thought
a-
this is
It
more
was
of a
actually
pay.
on the Value Them Both tour
Okay.
for Kansas. That's why we had Felicia
Uh-huh.
here.
Mm.
She's from valuethemboth.com.
I got you.
Because we are in support of that. And you didn't hear me talk. I told these people, just because the Kansas Supreme Court ruled that abortion is legal in Kansas in 2019 does not make it a law.
Right.
Value Them Both will make an amendment to our state constitution to make abortion rights
Right.
law in Kansas through legislation. Right
So,
now
but-
we've lost two. You heard my when I
Yeah.
was talking to her.
So,
we've already lost two abortion rights in Kansas because they were overturned in the Supreme Court.
Right.
Because it's not a law. It's a verdict or an opinion from a state court judge.
Well, and that's what the Supreme Court ruled on Roe vs. Wade. It's like, this is not in the Constitution. This has nothing to do with us. You got to actually make a
Roe versus
law.
Wade was just an opinion. It was not ever law.
Right.
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 So,
That's why they
like,
overturned it.
this bill that they're voting on, you know, here, is there limits on age for abortion? You have,
There is right now. It's ungodly, like 32 or 38 weeks. You have a dissecting. They're trying to roll that. They're trying to roll that 38
And
weeks,
how
which
many-
is 2 weeks before birth.
how many
40
months?
weeks. Huh?
It'd be like-
40 weeks is a.
Nine full
You're
term.
9 months, starting in December.
Okay.
Full 9 months is 40.
So it's like 8 months.
8
Yeah.
So like,
So they're trying to
Basically
dial
up
that
till
back some
birth.
to 22 weeks.
Right.
And a lot of it is because other states around have already banned abortion due to Roe versus Wade. There could be an influx of 50 to 100,000 people coming to Kansas for abortions.
Right.
We had 5,500 last year.
Dalton was born.
20 of them,
36.
or 20% of those were medical. The other 80 were.
voluntaries.
Yeah.
Well, it's
For
6
their,
months
for
now.
their
They can
job,
keep them
for their
alive
peace of
pretty well.
mind, for their relationship.
Right. See, I know it's a huge controversy of a topic, you know, and I've kind of always been on that. Man, by 8.5 months, if you haven't made a decision, you know, obviously they made a
There's
decision
so
up
many
until that part. They made the decision to yes carry, but then there was a no decision. And not talking in the case of something medical, you know, just choice, you know, it's kind of like, if you make, I see it that if you make the decision to carry that child up until a month, half a month before you're going to give birth, that you've committed yourself to it enough that why, I don't even understand why
It's
somebody would
because
want
the
one-
boyfriend
want
left a
them.
picture, is when they do
A lot
that.
of that. The boyfriend left at 6 months. Okay, I'm going to work.
Yeah.
I'm mad at him.
Yeah, mad at him. Yep.
Yeah,
And
and
then 20 years later, they're crying in some other
And they want
dude's shoulders
sympathy. They want
about
sympathy 20 years
about
later.
that, and they still blame the guy. I'm like, for their abortion. I'm like, could have still had the kid, and it messes up their reproductive system. I mean, half the women I've known that have had abortions can no longer have kids.
Right. It messes
So it basically almost permanently sterilized.
people like me.
Are we live?
Oh yeah.
Oh, great. Hi guys.
I made
Always
it hard
live.
again. People's moving to Kansas on Facebook.
Is it facing this way or that way?
This way.
Okay.
Hey,
I didn't
everybody.
see you flipped it. Here I would have been over talking.
Well, I could have been out here talking like, hey guys, how you doing?
I think people would do that. It's really funny.
They can still hear you this time,
They can hear me.
though. But yeah, it's serious. We're trying to get dialed back to 20 to 22 weeks
That's still
for the A word.
So at what age does the heart beat? How many weeks?
Like 6 weeks.
I think that's 6 weeks of heart. That's
6
what that's what
8 weeks.
Mississippi's bill, I
It's
believe,
usually your
was.
first ultrasound's like 8 weeks.
Right.
And they hear the heartbeat.
That's and it's just
That's
ridiculous that
it's
they
sad
even
story.
have some kind of bill like that. Like, you
Well,
know,
that and especially
and-
since nowadays at 6 months they can keep a baby alive. If the baby is born or is having problems and they have to yank it out the mother at 6 months, they can put it in their incubator, for lack of a better word, and keep it
Right.
alive.
what it is.
My friend just had a baby. I couldn't say how many weeks premature. 10 weeks maybe. So it's only 30 weeks. They life flighted him to Western Medical Center in Wichita, and he's doing just fine. Exactly. And he was perfect. They just wanted better care. He was alive and breathing on his own, everything.
All right.
At 4.5 months. So I'm pro-choice. Everybody has their own decision to make. Some are good and some are bad. That's not my choice. That's not my choice to make for anybody else. Same thing with vaccines.
we gotta watch how much we hit on that subject.
Oops.
I got in trouble the other day.
Oh, yeah.
YouTube called it medical misinformation. I have no idea what I even said. So I get this email and it says, you need to review your content and our community guidelines to make sure you know your video fits that. So you need to review your content to make sure, and then if you feel that you are within guidelines, then you can repeal it. I'm like, okay, cool. So there's a link. So I click on the link to go to my video to watch it, to verify to see if I said something or somebody else said something, that goes against the community guidelines. And so I click on a link, it says video no longer available. I couldn't even review it to see what I did wrong. It's just
Once
gone.
they mark it, they take it down.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's
Man,
how ridiculous, at least you could save a copy where I could look at it and see if, what was said,
Yeah,
so that I know, what's allowed and what's not, for sure.
we have a couple of local podcasters that help us put information out, and they run through the same problem. One guy, he spoke for like 30 minutes on Biden. No big whoop. He didn't
Right.
say any trigger words. He didn't even say abortion. He was reading the laws.
Right.
That's it, just stating facts. And he got the same thing. 10 minutes after he posted it, YouTube said, you've said something against our public standards, and took it down. So he redid it, and they made it an hour and a half long, cussing YouTube,
Yes.
and it's still up today.
Baby lives matter. I like that. Hashtag baby lives matter. I like that.
But yeah, so changing our amendment rights is going to keep abortion laws. Yeah, instead of the Supreme Court taking away from the state of Kansas. And the legislation has put stuff in place to keep elective abortions from out of state, from being late. Any medical problems, medical conditions, with you and your doctor, you could be sent. So your doctor in Kansas can send you to if it's medically necessary.
Right.
Just because they're changing the elective abortion months of age where you can have an abortion up to 22 weeks, nothing could be elective after that. It's got to be a medical concern.
Which is almost 5 months.
Well, I know what a lot of people need to do is they actually need to read into it because they hide stuff. So like they'll say, and at the top line it'd be like, up until X amount of weeks. But when you actually go down through it, when you go down through it and you actually read it, they say they have stuff hidden in those bills too. That, like California has one in their bill.
And
It's
see,
way down. It's all hidden in there.
California started this off 7 days after. They did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Colorado and New Jersey stepped up and said, hey, let's do 28 days after birth. So California went up to 28 days after birth for an abortion. And no criminal charges if you have your abortion at home without doctor's care.
Right.
And then California's like, hey, I'll do one better. Let's do 24 months after birth.
Yeah.
Just in case your child isn't learning right.
I think that's what I think that's what the law was that got passed. Is it's up to 24 months. I believe if you actually It doesn't
that's,
say that, but if
HB
you go down and actually
It
read
didn't
through
pass.
it all,
It passed committee and failed in the House.
Okay,
yeah, I got
failed
shut
in the
down in the house.
which is crazy, 24 months age.
But-
it's 2 years to go to any playground, and that's like,
You're
It's
watching.
just-
You're
that's
watching
just
people
like-
play that they're gonna get.
yeah.
If they don't if they don't swing right, oh, he must have another problem.
Right, yeah, I mean,
They
that's
really
like, oh gosh, I can't even imagine, you know, as a parent, I can't even imagine making,
I don't
even
think you have to
thinking
be-
of doing that, you know, it's just,
You don't have to
what
be
in
a
the world is
parent to
wrong
do
with
that
these
to recognize
days,
that.
you know?
Exactly. Thank you guys very much. I'm gonna get out of here.
Yeah,
If you want to stop that, you're gonna pay.
I think the Melrose didn't want to be.
They're ready.
We're
My
gonna give it a
buddy's
minute to
setting up
catch
that.
up.
So I'm gonna drink beer. And because they got a lot of leftover food.